Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and if you are just joining us, it is Viewpoint, one of your favorite evening debate talk show on DBS television, brought to you from Monday to Friday. In tonight's edition, we are going to be talking issues related to unemployment, and trying to find out, is it as a result of incompetency or what are other attributes to the high rate of unemployment in the Cameroon. And to discuss about this once more, we are happy or honored to have as guest with us an economist. It's not been long we hosted him, and he is back again. I'm talking of Akum Ntib, and he'll be accompanied by Mange Fenashus. Good evening to you, Akum Ntib, and thank you very much for coming again. It's a pleasure having you.
Yeah, good evening, Vanessa. I want to say good evening to the viewers and to encourage them to watch this program. Debates are usually intellectual exchange, and it's an educational program, and I want to encourage all to always watch this program. It's very interesting. If they do not have the possibility to watch us on satellite, we are always live on Facebook, and they could equally go on our YouTube page, DBS TV Official, to rewatch the program. Mange Fenashus, it's a pleasure having you as well.
Good evening, Vanessa.
Good evening.
And good evening to Mr. Ntib. And good evening to our viewers. Like you say, Vanessa, it's a pleasure always being there for to commune with our viewers. It's an opportunity we also learn, from what our guests tell us.
Exactly, because they are there as the main expert.
The resource
persons of the various topics. Let us have the first part of the show. In the first question, can incompetency account for the high rate of unemployment in Cameroon? Mr. Ntib?
No.
No. Mange Fenashus, do you think it's as a result of incompetency?
Yes.
Yes. And are there consequences of this high rate of unemployment to the economy of the country? Mange Fenashus?
Yes, there are.
So?
I will agree to a limited extent.
Limited, yes. Limited extent. Let us have the debate. Can incompetency account for the high rate of unemployment in Cameroon? Akum Ntib, as an economist, you think that it's not as a result of incompetency. So, does it imply that a lot of Cameroonians do have the skills to do the jobs that are maybe they are being required to do? But what is stopping them now from being employed or actually having something to do to earn a living?
Okay, Vanessa. Unemployment, from its notion and concept, we know that it is when someone is able and capable to carry on a job and he can't find a job, which means is in Cameroon we look at the number of those who are able of the working age and they can't find jobs. Those are those who classify as unemployed. And being as a result of incompetency of Cameroonians, I would say no, because there are lots of causes that when we put together, it will explain why we have unemployment in Cameroon. If we look at one of the first major cause of unemployment in Cameroon is as a result of the inability for Cameroon to provide, or for the central government to provide, an enabling environment for entrepreneurs to help the state and reduce the rate of unemployment. So to me, I look at it as the cause is not linked to the characteristics, the training, the qualities of Cameroonians. But I look at it as the absence of an enabling environment for Cameroonians to have adequate jobs. Why do I say so? If we look at, first of all, remuneration in Cameroon is very low. The salary package in Cameroon is very low. And that alone is one of the main reasons why we have the brain drain. People are going away out of the country to other countries. Some people may even prefer to be unemployed than to take a
minimum
package.
36,000, I think so.
Good. Like 36,250 is the minimum wage for in Cameroon. I think if we compare, that's one of the lowest in the world. If we compare with other related countries that are of our standing, which means that very low remuneration alone is already a demotivating factor. Now, if we look at some may argue that that is for those who are not unskilled and don't have any basic training, are being given such salary. But still with that, it is still very small. So, though that is minute, but that is just one of the factors. That motivation, that enabling environment. If the government now does not step in to say that, okay, employers, I'm going to support you. There are many ways the government can support the entrepreneurs to build them up so that they will assist the government to employ citizens. But I think in Cameroon, there is that phenomenon that everybody is looking up to the civil service job. And if you can't afford a civil service job, yours is finished. But if you go to other economies, other countries, it is not the same. Entrepreneurs, the private sector is booming. And when the private sector is booming, it will enable the entrepreneurs to recruit citizens and occupy them. So therefore, to me, I believe that it is not as a result of incompetence, because Cameroonians, we are trained. If you look at the literacy rate in Cameroon is very high, and currently now there is that deviation away from general education to technical education. There is a lot of reforms that have been carried out that have made an enabling ground for Cameroonians to be trained, vocational training centers. There's even a ministry of employment and vocational training. So I think what needs to be done in Cameroon is to provide the necessary enabling environment. People are trained, but they are not informed. Getting a job in Cameroon, private or public, is as if you have to climb a very long ladder. So the government has to come in, shorten that ladder, remove the bottlenecks in recruitment. There is a lot of bottlenecks. Too much paperwork, too much procedures, all that alone. All that, not that alone. We have others. We have things like what they call réseau.
Not forgetting the Godfather syndrome.
Godfathers. All those syndromes, they are dragging the economy behind. But I will tell you that it is not bad. Unemployment is not bad in Cameroon, because if you look at it, the statistics shows that we have less than 4% of Cameroonians who are unemployed.
Thank you very much, Akumdeep. You stay with us while we get the point of view of Manga Vinicius, and in the course, you could equally bring in again your contribution. Manga Vinicius, you think that the incompetency is the cause of this high rate of unemployment in Cameroon?
Yes, Vanessa, to talk about the question of unemployment in Cameroon, it is a fact that everybody cry around that the youths are not being employed. And when we talk of incompetency, I think when we talk of competency, you talk of a competent person is somebody who has the ability to perform a particular task. And when you look at putting that as a lack in our society, because mostly it's the youth that are not employed, you tend to find out what type of formation do we have? I always say here, I like Mr. Ndip said there is a drift towards the technical system of education in Cameroon. It is a drift whose output, whose product we are still expecting to feel in the job market, in the working class in Cameroon. Just ask a question: how many students graduate from universities in the country? I want to talk of state universities. You will hear University of Boya, they will say they turned out 2,000, 3,000. 3,000 students who are graduating to the job market. Graduating with what degrees? In which fields? We are having the technical schools in Cameroon. Vanessa, unless I am still ill-informed, how many technical universities do we have in Cameroon? State-owned. If we don't have technical universities in Cameroon, what competency are we transmitting to the youth? Somebody will graduate with a master's degree, PhD degree in history. What can he do? As a history, a holder of a master's degree in history, a holder of a master's degree in geography, what will you do? And you look at what they do. Somebody graduates with PhD in sociology, in anthropology. What would he do? That's a graduate. Because when we talk of graduates, yes, there are graduates. I want to see somebody who graduates with a bachelor's degree in petrochemical who is idling around. A graduate who graduates with a bachelor's degree in electricity. How many of them are idling around? Because when we talk of incompetency, it is that ability that they don't have for a particular task. When you look at, I like what Mr. Andip said. Yes, he indicated that in most economies, what drives those economies, that's the private sector. Not only the government sector. That's why in Cameroon we talk of this matricle syndrome, where everybody wants to be employed. Just look at it. When they ask, they launch a concours or an entrance examination, a competitive entrance examination. How many Cameroonians apply? That is just to tell you that in the job market, what they are looking for, most people run away from the private sector. Everybody is tilted towards, I want to have a matricle with the government. How many of this government concours or job offers demand a particular competent? They're looking for a qualification, and most of the qualification is academic qualifications. Most of these academic qualifications, we have them, but they cannot help us. We have them. Look at the Ministry of Employment and Vocational Training in Cameroon. Look at the budget, the present budget that we have, that was attributed to this ministry. It was not above 8 billion. The Ministry of Secondary Education has 388 billion francs CFA. That's the budget. While the Ministry of Professional and Vocational Training has about 8 billion francs CFA. What would they train? How would they are equipped? How do you expect them to turn out graduates who have the who were able to be formed to have that competence or those competencies in order to be employed? That is why when you have it's true, government need to carry out some procedures, some reforms in order to enable the private sector, the most entrepreneurs to set up. They will set up very well, but they will not have the real manpower that is needed. We have manpower in Cameroon, but the manpower, how equipped is this manpower? Because if they ask here in Cameroon, we want first degree holders, within the twinkle of an eye, you have thousands of them. Ask first degree in what field? That is where the problem starts coming. That is the selection criteria now. Because when we talk of incompetency, that's why I tend to think that we are not employed because the kind of orientation that we had to our education was a problem. Instead, people were tilted towards grammar education than technical commercial education. It is now of, if I can ask, If not of this Anglophone crisis, how many industrial colleges, Anglophone or English industrial colleges do we have here in Douala? A city like Douala, a city like Douala that is the economic hub of the central region. It is with the coming of the Anglophone crisis, and even with these schools that have, or these industrial colleges that we have, how many of them have the necessary working equipment? Yes, to train. Because you see a school without a workshop, and they call it an industrial school. Where are they doing the
technical school?
Or a technical school. A technical school, you don't see workshops. When we talk of a technical school, we used to have Ombe in the southwest region. That was a school where you go there, you see machines. People were trained. How many children went to Ombe in those days? Because I remember when we were graduating from primary school.
We have a school like Canada in Bamenda.
Oh, in Bamenda. How many children went to? I'm not. Because when you have somebody who graduates just with an A-level degree in electricity, I mean, you see that this person can be, self-employed. He can be self-employed. But we used to have people, those students were those who were going to technical schools. Because when we were graduating from class 7, once you pass the common entrance in list B, it means you were dull. Those are people who were going to technical school. And those bright students who had them in list A, those were those who were going to government schools, GHS, GBSS. And when they go there, these bright students, because they are passed in list A, they form them very soon. Yes, A-level,
now I hope I go
5
put, you
A-level,
put the bright
11
in,
A-level.
you put the bright in quotes anyway. The bright is in quotes.
It's in quotes, according to the standard that was given to our society. Because these were bright students who were going to secondary schools, 11 O-level, 5 A-levels. And then what next? Whereas that those student who went to SAI-SM, that those student who went to technical school, by the time you are writing O-level, he is already graduating. He is already having a trade, which you end up with a certificate. A certificate is not a trade. A certificate is not a trade. A certificate is an attestation that you have rounded up a course. You don't have anything. You don't have the competencies. So to me, I think it is the incompetent nature of our graduates that is making. We have graduates, yes, but we don't have graduates who have the competent to be employed. That's what I think.
We'll have the skills.
That's why I think that we have so many people who are talking of unemployment in the country. Yes, because they don't have what it takes, to be. A good student sells in the job market. Who is competent, he sells in the job market. Because people go for them. Entrepreneurs go for them. So those who just have a first degree, have a master's degree. Your master's degree in geography, how would you work? Can you handle a camera? You cannot. So I think that we need competent to do. That's why they are talking of competency-based approach now in education. So that they can be able to solve real life situations. We should not remain in theory. We should not remain in concepts. Concepts are textbooks that people wrote. We master them, but when it comes to real application in real life, we are wanting. That's the incompetence or the incompetency that I think.
Thereby leading to the high rate of unemployment in Cameroon, according to the point of view of Mange Vinicius. Given that many youths in Cameroon are therefore not employed, how does this affect the economy? That is the second question in tonight's edition. And Mr. Ndip, you think that it affects the economy to a very little extent?
Yes, Vanessa, before I answer that question, I would like to chip in something in relation to what Vinicius said. Yes, I will agree with him that in the past, we never had the schools at post-advanced level to train our technical students. That has been a problem we have had, especially the Anglophones. That is very evident, because I can recall while we were growing up, we knew that if you go to technical college, your limit is advanced level. Yes. That was what we know. If you have to continue, then you have to go to Nigeria, you have to go to Ghana, and if your family does not have money, your level is advanced level. But I think today there has been a change. There has been a change in recent years. We have colleges of technology in Boya and in Bamenda, and with the liberalization of the higher educational sector, where private polytechnics now do provide the training for students above advanced level with the introduction of HND and professional bachelor and bachelor of technology. I think it has gone a long way to improve on the manpower, and greatly we encourage the government to support those areas, to put more effort to encourage the technical education, because if they don't, the economy will never shift from where it is. We'll be remaining on the same spot. And like you said, but I just wanted to just let the viewers know that in recent years there have been some improvements. And then in relation to that effect of unemployment to an economy, if I say relatively limited in Cameroon, is due to the statistics we are seeing. If you look at the statistics from the National Institute of Statistics, it shows that Cameroon has less than 4% unemployment rate. And many will argue that with all the number of youths who are outside and we have only 4%.
Only 4%, yeah. I'm smiling.
Yes, and unemployment means you are not doing anything. So they consider even those who are riding bikes as if they have been employed.
They're employed.
Yes, because that's an informal sector. So whether formal or informal, all of them are counted, so they are being considered. So the kind of employment we should really wish for our citizens should not be that type of unemployment which will not put a square meal on the table. So to me, though the effect is not as felt as compared to other nations, but I'll propose that the government do something concerning that, because it is not in the reality. What the statistics is showing is not what is in the field. In the reality, in every household, out of 10, only one may be employed. So if we put that statistics and compare it with what we have in the field, it is not reflecting. So there is a problem. Unemployment in Cameroon is a problem. And in that light, it is for us, Cameroonians, to take it upon ourselves. Don't wait for the state. We don't need to wait for the state. We should, in every aspect, in everywhere we are, create something, start up something. That is where that is how you can give your own contribution to that problem. And before I give that my own reason why I said it is limited, the effect is limited. The effect is limited because I see some efforts, some contributions that are being made in recent years. That is why I said the effect is limited. And statistically, there is a drop in unemployment in Cameroon.
All right. Manga Benashu, so you think that there are consequences in our economy. So how would that affect?
Yes, Vanessa, when Cameroonians are employed, you know, it will lead to, because when you are employed, you pay taxes. Once you are working, there are some taxes that you pay to the state.
I think that whether you're working or not, there are some taxes you pay. Directly or indirectly, we all do pay taxes.
Directly or indirectly,
yes.
But I would take for example, somebody who is not employed. Taxes are not paid directly like somebody who is paid. The person who is not employed, he can pay the taxes when he has no chance, no opportunity to evade. When we talk of tax evasion, it comes from those points of those who pay them indirectly. But those who are employed, they pay the taxes directly. There's no question of whether you can you can pay or or you don't pay. And we understand the implication of the government not collecting taxes. It leads to underdevelopment in the country, because taxes are to the government what fuel is to a car. For a government to work, they need the taxes in order to realize its project. And if there is unemployment, it means the government will not succeed in the public investment budget execution, because they will not have the budget to execute their projects that they were earmarked. It brings us to the issue of insecurity. The insecurity that we have in our cities and towns today is due to unemployment. Mr. Ndib, in his definition of employment, according to the information that we have from the from the Department of Statistics. Even if you are a bike rider, you are employed. Yes, because you are working. They define work as anything through which you earn a living. Yes, but then that kind of employment is you know, you are not sure. You cannot build on it. We want something. Vanessa, if you leave DBS today, you go to any other media, you have a profession that you count on. If you leave DBS today, you go to any other media, you survive. If you leave Cameroon today, go to another country, you still carry out your duty or your profession as a journalist. You count on it. Now we are suffering from insecurity in our cities and our towns, our neighborhoods, because these Cameroonians who are not employed, you know, they say idleness is the devil's workshop. Other things get into their mind and they find themselves doing other things that are not called for. We have the problem of social disorder. Social disorder. It is enough just to stand in any neighborhood here in Douala and make noise for 1-2 minutes. You will discover that in a space of no time, the place will be crowded. You discover that these are signs of idleness. Because if these people were occupied, nobody will have the time to start thinking of, you know, coming to see who is making noise here. Just exchange words with your wife or with your husband in the dialect that people don't even understand. You find already people asking, because they have nothing doing. That is where we have social disorder in our city. That is why you have boys roaming about. You don't move freely. You cannot move with your phone freely in town or with your purse freely in.
Yeah, you're always skeptical of.
Because somebody can just snatch it. You go anywhere, you have to look twice before you leave because you are afraid. Because people are, imagine, they used to tell us that once you work in the evening, you will be tired and you have to go and rest. You will not be loitering around. Look at the high rate of consumption of drug and alcohol that we have in our city. Because of unemployment, they are idle. They are looking for at least something to occupy them. That's what the youth are. So I think that the consequences of this unemployment, when we look at them in our country, they are so glaring that you don't need to ask. The issue is, let us occupy the youth, occupy these young people, and you will find that that is what, even when it talks in the field of politics, you see they are easily taken into, because it's just suffice to move a few banknotes.
Being swayed away.
Of course, a few banknotes, you carry them because they depend on it. They don't have what to count on. If somebody is doing something, you will not be easy to convince him with a few banknotes because that is nothing. But just remove, like they say, bread and sardine, bread and rice and any other thing, they are gone. That is the kind of, these are the impacts of unemployment in our society.
Thank you very much, Mange Venashu's Akum Deeper. So if you are to advise young Cameroonians watching us at this particular moment and who may want to engage into business but are faced with the challenges of high taxes, what should they actually do?
I would say that for any person who wants to carry out an endeavor, I think what you have to do is you should be committed and disciplined. No matter how high a tax is, cannot stop an entrepreneur from making profit. So the taxes are not limitations for entrepreneurial development. So any young Cameroonian who is inspired to start up his venture should take high taxes as a business challenge like any other challenge and move ahead with whatever he wants to do.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. We've come to the end of today's edition. Thank you very much, Mange Venashus and Akum Deeper, for making the debate happen. Take a rendezvous for tomorrow and do stay tuned to DBS television. Coming up at 7 p.m. You'll be having the primetime newscast in the English language with Cynthia Ngwebo. Goodbye.